Welcome to Vlog 1, Skills vs Capacity in the Weight Room. Throughout this vlog, I will refer to skill and capacity. Skill refers to a potential new movement that can be taught through cues, and we see quite immediate improvement. Capacity refers to a movement that the athlete already knows and understands, but they lack a capacity, such as mobility, to perform it well. We will be looking at two athletes and comparing the back squat and then an Olympic weightlifting. Here is athlete 1. She has never lifted weights and was predominantly a triathlon runner who is now retired from competitive sports. I asked her to do a body weight squat and hold at the bottom to see how comfortable she was and to see if she could go below parallel. Once I knew she could perform a bodyweight squat, I asked her to perform a barbell back squat. Throughout this movement, as you can see, she is able to gain depth, but we can see an inwards rotation on the left ankle. While squatting, the athlete complained of tight hips and found the movement quite jerky and uncomfortable. I looked at the hip mobility and went through some stretches such as the pigeon to open the hip flexors. As you can see on the right hand side, we have a greater trunk lean and the movement is quite jerky. On the left, it's a little bit more fluent and the athlete is starting to get a lot more comfortable in the squat. As you can see, the athlete is still quite nervous when setting ready for their squat, but she is gaining more control and confidence as she goes down. The simple coaching cues I used were eyes forwards, chest up, and sit back on the heels. Sato et al. 2012 looked at kinematic changes during back squats when wearing running shoes and weightlifting shoes. They found that weightlifting shoes displayed less trunk lean, which would then in fact support the lower back. The lifts here replicate weightlifting shoes. Finally, I looked at foot stance. I used a medicine ball to control the depth. On the previous video, we could see a slight knee valgus on the right side as the athlete ascended into their squat. I adjusted the athlete's stance a bit wider to ensure the hips could have more space and the athlete could sit back on their heels. The band was used to add some tension in the quadriceps and to try and control the knee valgus. For this athlete, we would continue to develop more confidence with light weights, even using dumbbells, before moving on to a weighted barbell squat. We will now look at the back squat with a capacity issue. This athlete is an active CrossFitter who has been training consistently for just under 2 years. Straight away, I notice a bounce at the bottom of the squat. Although he is controlled and stable, there is a trunk lean forward which can put excessive strain on the lower back. Chandler and Stone, 1991. I stripped it back to basics and asked the athlete to hold a squat. As you can see, he struggles to go below parallel, and we also have excessive trunk lean due to the lack of ankle dorsiflexive mobility. I believe this is the main capacity affecting his squat. I conducted the dorsiflexion lunge test, and as you can see, the athlete does have some mobility, but it is really an area that he needs to develop to be more comfortable. Fugelsand et al. 2017 found athletes with greater range of motion in ankles tend to be more upright during squats. This reduces the shear force on the trunk, and I also believe this would allow this athlete to squat heavier. The athlete can perform a pole squat with much better positioning. This again is a mobility exercise that I will program to develop better dorsiflexion in the ankle. It could be included in a warm-up or for accessory work. It is clear this athlete is a competent squatter, but to further develop, he needs to look at his dorsiflexion within his ankle and develop his mobility through accessory work. Now back to athlete 1, who has never done any weightlifting, so this was her first session. We started with a PVC pipe and I asked her to perform a power clean. As you can see, she has some idea, but will need a few cues to help her make the movement more effective and learn the new skill. To teach the power clean, I broke it down into a shrug and turn over with my athlete first. Judge et al. 2012 stated to break down the power clean into small steps and use visual and auditory cues to teach the power clean. Here you can see me explaining the second pull, although I just called it the first pull with my novice athlete. I am working through showing her how to do different things and looking at her body position using visual cues and also auditory cues to explain everything so that she can feel and practice the movement. I move on to focusing on the triple extension of the knee, ankle and hip with exaggerated movements. As you can see, the athlete is still using a PVC pipe, but she is gaining more confidence and understanding of the movement. It's less jerky compared to the first video. Olympic weightlifting involves lots of cues and can often be very complicated. Here we are focusing on a hang power clean, a derivative that is easier for novices to learn a new skill. Without visual guidance from the coach, the athlete practice the movement themselves. We can see clear triple extension at the ankle, knee and hips, and there is a quick turnover. However, the athlete catches the bar incorrectly. Her arms need to be in a front rack position to ensure she can catch weight. This is something we need to work on. We moved on to the 7.5 kg barbell and practiced the hang power clean. The athlete's shoulders are in line with the bar over the top. She's hinging at the hips and the barbell stays close along her thighs, makes contact with the hips, and she catches in a nice strong power position. I wanted to see if the athlete could transfer her knowledge from the barbell into dumbbells, and as you can see from this video, her front rack position is a lot stronger. This is something that we will continue to use to develop this athlete. She has made big progress to learn the new skill, highlighting that it was a limitation due to lack of skill, not capacity. Athlete number 2 is going to be performing the snatch. The athlete first performs a power snatch. They approach the bar with confidence and set up in a relatively good position. However, straight away I can see deficiencies within the shoulder and hip. I asked the athlete to complete an overhead squat with a PVC pipe. The left hip has slightly more mobility than the right, hence we see a slight lean to the left. We can also see the right shoulder is higher shrugged, which affects the elbow. The athlete looks unbalanced in the bottom of the squat. I checked the athlete's hip flexion, and as you can see from this video, I think it's the main constraint for this athlete. I believe that the lack of mobility in the hip was not only affecting his ability to squat, but also the stability in the shoulders and was contributing to the unbalanced overhead squat and snatch movement. We looked at stretching and opening up the hips and decided that this is something that needed to be built into the athlete's programming. The snatch balance is a skill I would like to teach the athlete to develop confidence under the bar, but it would also encourage the athlete to squat fully and would ensure the hips understand the correct movement. In this video, you can see the athlete is unable to squat down in the start position. He pulls and gains triple extension, but his catch is still above parallel. You can also see him struggle to squat deeper. Here, the athlete performs with more speed after some cues from the coach. His catch is slightly better, but there is still some instability at the bottom. It is clear this athlete knows how to perform the snatch. However, there is, in the videos there, shows a lack of mobility in various body parts, predominantly the hips, and these stop him from performing it better. This limitation is capacity-based, and it will take time to train and make better. It is clear when coaching you have to adopt different strategies when coaching for a skill issue or a capacity issue. For a skill issue, it normally involves breaking down and simplifying the movement. When it is a capacity issue, it involves highlighting a weakness and developing it, often using accessory work or derivatives of the chosen movement. Thank you for listening.